I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Camarillo City Council. We'll have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Kilby?
Here.
Councilmember Martinez-Bravo? Here. Councilmember Tennyson is absent for the record. Vice Mayor Tremblay?
Here.
And Mayor Santangelo.
And I'm here. Okay, the purpose for opening at this hour is to go into closed session. I'll have the city attorney read the items for closed session.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We have 2 items listed on the agenda. One is existing litigation, and one relates to anticipated litigation. If there's any reportable action, I will make that report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, and with that, we'll recess into closed session.
Okay, with that, I'd like to open up the Camarillo Sanitary District meeting for October 11th. Let the record reflect that all directors are present except one. We're going to do a flag salute tonight, so I am going to ask our mayor if she would lead us in the flag salute, please.
Please stand. Hand over heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, so we've got the approval of the agenda as submitted. Public comments now. This is for the Camarillo Sanitary District. Is there any public comments here tonight? Seeing no one come forward, we'll get down to the consent calendar. I'll need a motion, please.
Second.
It's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote. That passes 4-1 with one absence. And we're going to wait a little bit for item B, but let's get down to board comment and reports. Any comments from the board from the CamSan tonight? Hearing none, we're going to get down to the public hearing, but we're going to wait until the next agenda, and we're going to hold that contiguous with the city council. So with that, we're going to be in recess until that time.
We'll turn my mic on first, and I will reconvene this meeting of the Camarillo City Council. Let the record reflect that all council members are present except one, Mr. Tennyson. And my favorite part of the night, presentations. Item C is the Leisure Village 50th anniversary. I'm going to come over to the presentation side. Am I on? Yes. This is to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Leisure Village. And just as a personal note, when my family moved here in 1976, both sets of my grandparents were on the East Coast, and they bought their houses sight unseen in Leisure Village and moved and followed us 2 years later. So I spent many, many years at Leisure Village with both sets of my grandparents. And so I have really fond memories of Leisure Village and what it's done for this community and what it means to this community. So I'm going to read this from the certificate. The certificate of recognition presented to Leisure Village 50th anniversary. Leisure Village is a vibrant and active senior community for residents 55 and over. It is an established village comprised of 2,136 single-story units set in an area just over 450 acres. Leisure Village offers residents quality of life, amenities and activities, and a safe and secure place to live. Residents volunteer as members of its board and actively participate on many service and educational committees, as well as in activities and organizations in the greater Camarillo community. In recognition of this significant anniversary, I, Susan Santangelo, Mayor of the City of Camarillo, jointly with my fellow council members, extend best wishes to Leisure Village on its 50th anniversary. And I would like to present this to somebody. Come on up.
I'm brought in the crowd. And Chuck is good.
Would any of you like to say a few words?
I do have a few words.
Let's all come on this side. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and distinguished council members. I am Chuck Cascaden, President of Leisure Village Board of Directors. With me here today are other members of our leadership team, Board Vice President Richard Loomis, Treasurer Jim Murchie, Secretary Marlon Block, at-large board member Ruth Stuba, and our new general manager, Christy Moore. Christy was with the village for 13 years and just recently was promoted to general manager. We're extremely proud of her already. We've been celebrating the 50-year anniversary of the village throughout the year, and we just had a spectacular party. We had a whole lot of fun, had a few people attend with us, and we enjoyed that. And had remarks from council members Tremblay, who wasn't present, but he taped something and we played it for the whole village, and Kildee, among others. We are honored to be recognized for the past 50 years during which villagers have contributed to the vibrancy of the city, and it's been a pleasure, and apparently you've had some warm memories as well. That's great to hear. We just think we want to thank you for inviting us tonight. It was very nice.
Thank you for being
My pleasure. I will exchange with you. Take the power away. Christy, would you like to move over here and join me? Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Say a few words? Sure. Say something? Good. Yeah, I'm going to let my council members say a few words as well. Mr. Kildee?
Yeah, thanks for being here. I want to thank all of you for serving on the board. I know sometimes it could have its nuances, but thank you so much. It's a great place to live there. I made a lot of comments on Sunday, so I'm not going to make too many tonight, but it's a great asset to the city. It's amazing, 50 years. I can't believe it's been that long. I'm old enough to remember when it was built. So amazing legacy that you have here, and keep up the good work, and really appreciate, and I consider it a partnership that we have with Leisure Village, and I know all of us in the room are going to keep that going into the future. So again, thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for your service, and we're really, really proud, and I know you are too, of the residents and the facility that's grown into state-of-the-art. And I know several people that live out there, and almost, if not 100% to a person, they really not just like it out there, they love it. So, good job.
I've been privileged to work with Leisure Village and its residents on a regular basis, and with your board and with many residents. And I am always impressed by the professionalism and the vibrancy of the community. Leisure Village is an integral part of our city. And I so appreciate everything that all of you here tonight do for your community. I was disappointed that I could not be there on Sunday, but as you know, I was away out of town. But I gave some thought when thank you for allowing me to record, I think it was a short video. We timed it, I think it was under a minute. But I ended it by just saying Leisure Village rocks. And it does. It's a wonderful community, so thank you. This is a very appropriate way to honor Leisure Village on its 50th anniversary, and we're grateful that everything that you in turn do for our community, for our entire city. So thank you, and thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you to each and one of you for everything that you do for our community, for the service that you provide to our community that many times goes unthanked. And I know that I am thankful to have you be a part of our home for the city of Camarillo. The city of Camarillo is home to people who are young and young at heart, and I am very appreciative of everything that you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again for being here tonight. Okay, then it moves us on to item D, which is a presentation from the Boys and Girls Club of Camarillo.
I think we should just be doing presentations.
Yeah. Presentations are great.
Good afternoon. Good evening. My name is Dave Nirenberg, and it is my honor and my pleasure to serve as the chairman of the board of the Camarillo Boys and Girls Club. On behalf of the 25 board members, many of whom are here tonight, our senior management and staff, and most importantly, the over 300 children that we serve every single day. We thank you for your generous grant to help us in our post-construction outfitting of our facility. That's what I have to say. I would like to say, if you ever need a smile on your face, you can stop by the Boys and Girls Club, and we'll provide you with over 300 smiles simultaneously every single day, because that's why I do what I do. And that's why I donate my time to that, because it is so important, and we're really doing something for the youth and for the city of Camarillo. And thank you very much. And I'd like to introduce our CEO, Roberto Martinez, and he can take it from here.
I got to adjust the microphone. Is this the clicker? Thank you. Mayor Santangelo, council, city staff, thank you for the opportunity to be with you guys tonight. So I've been working with Boys and Girls Club for about 22 years now, and I went into the job with some experiences and some knowledge, and then I gained a lot more through working there. And one of the skills I gained through my time with the club is I can very quickly take apart and put together a pool table, because we've gotten a lot over the years, right? People, they get them, and then they sit in their garage. They don't use them as often, and so they call the Boys and Girls Club, and it's something that we can often use, so we'll go and we'll take our truck and, take the tools, take it apart, bring it, put it back together. And that's what happens, right? Because we're a nonprofit, and a lot of times we get secondhand stuff. And here we introduced this brand new building, and we introduce it with a lot of brand new stuff because of you. And that's huge. That's huge for a lot of kids who a lot of times get secondhand stuff. They get stuff that someone didn't want anymore, didn't need anymore, couldn't use anymore. But because of your generosity, because of your support, they got brand new stuff. That's huge. So I just want to show some of the things that we're able to get from the city, and one of those things is those smiles that Dave talked about. And of course, a big part of what we do is support our community and our working families, and 97% of them say that without the Boys and Girls Club of Camarillo, they could not work. That's not because of the Boys and Girls Club of America. It's not because of the Boys and Girls Club of Ventura County. It's not the Boys and Girls Club of California. It's the Boys and Girls Club of Camarillo. Without the Boys and Girls Club of Camarillo, I could not afford to work because of the cost of childcare, the cost of living, and all those other things. So we got tables and chairs for our homework room, right? Because kids are coming in every day, and they're getting homework. They're also eating snack. We did a study with Dr. Demui out of Cal Lutheran University and looking at what our impacts are, and 97% of our clubs are on track to graduate high school. And with them coming in every day and having brand new homework tables, and we got good tables, so they're not those old gray plastic ones we used to have, which I never loved, and they were a lot to clean. They're great tables, and they're easy to clean, so not only am I appreciative and the kids, but our staff are as well. This is our snack shack area, and these are brand new tables as well that we were able to purchase with the funds that you contributed. Here's some kids getting a pizza and having a good time right there. So this was our games room, and brand new space, open, and of course going into construction and demolition. We had to get rid of a lot of stuff, and most of it was not worth keeping anyway. But thanks to you, the place is full of brand new game tables, brand new first aid equipment, brand new all sorts of stuff. And for these kids to come in and again see brand new stuff, and like, the city cared enough about me to give me brand new stuff and not second hand-me-down stuff, thank you. Thank you. Technology lab. Not all these computers are brand new, but the tables are. Here's some kids in our new learning lab doing some science experiments on sound and how sound travels. There was actually a physicist in the room that day teaching the kids. So hopefully I can do this without messing up. Oh, well, no sound, but that's okay. They said thank you. And these kids say thank you as well. And this is our art room. And these kids say thank you as well, and this is in our sensory motor lab. But, it reminds me of, because many of you, again, preaching to the choir, all of you are supporters of the club. All of you have been invested in the community, and I appreciate that. And as much as I know he needs the time away, I'm sad to see David not here today, because David was our board chair when we started this campaign, and his leadership was critical. But we were operable during construction, and there was this big plastic barrier separating the new from the existing, where the kids were still in. And I remember one day that barrier came down. And there was this young lady who got this look on her face, and she was just like, is that for us? When they walk into that games room and these other rooms and they see all the brand new furniture, equipment, and everything that you guys made happen, they get that same look, and it's like, that's for us. And the city made it happen. So they're making cool things like this on our laser etcher in our design lab. They have a 3D printer as well, so they made this stuff too. So they're definitely getting the types of skills that are going to give them the opportunities of tomorrow. And our kids also have some thank you cards here. I don't know if I can give these to you, if there's some type of a law that I can't. But again, on behalf of everyone, just thank you so much for what you did. Really appreciate it.
I'd like to thank you for all that you do and for all that your board does, because the Boys and Girls Club of Camarillo is really an integral part of our city, and it really, are helping to supply all of this new furniture and equipment is an investment in our future, as I see it. So,
Absolutely.
thank you. Comments?
Sure. It's really hard for me to be succinct, so I'm going to try. But I'll just repeat what our mayor just said. Just like Leisure Village, the Boys and Girls Club is an integral part of our community. It's what makes this community so special. And it's through the efforts of, and I'm privileged to know many of the members of the board of directors who are here tonight. So I just want to say thank you for everything that you are doing for our kids. We really appreciate it. And again, that's one reason why our community is so strong, because of people and your efforts like you. So thank you. Believe it or not, that's it.
That's a record, Tony.
Want me to say a few?
Want to say?
Sure. Many times, I believe that the way that we show our love, our care, and we show the message that we believe in another person, in their self-worth, is through action. And the Boys and Girls Club is doing exactly that. And I know with the help of the city, I'm very proud that we did do this and we invested in this community that is many times not invested in. But it is also through your hard work, through your service, that you're able to accomplish where we are at. So thank you so much for your service and for the love that you bring to the city of Camarillo.
That's good. I'll make one quick. I want to thank the board of directors too. Roberto, I can't believe it's been, 22 years? That's amazing. But, board of directors have a love affair with the city of Camarillo, and I look at this as a partnership with that, another partnership that we try to provide. And fortunately, we're in a position that we can help folks out, and that's really beneficial too. But again, thanks for what you do for the younger people of our city. It does not go unnoticed. I get a lot of accolades about how well the Boys and Girls Club serves our community in general, and specifically the younger citizens of our city. So again, thanks for what you do, and boy, it really turned out fabulous. I'll put that Boys and Girl Club up to practically any other one that I've seen. It's right up there with the best of the best. So again, congratulations.
Thank you again. I think it's a really special night when we have such two organizations, not really organizations, but two groups of people in our community that are so integral to who we are. So thank you both for being here tonight. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to council and staff comments and reports. We have a very exciting meeting. All right. Tonight, I'm going to start with Dr. Martinez Bravo.
Thank you, Mayor. For my council communications, September 28th, I attended a tour of Food Share. It was my first time there, and it was really a wonderful experience, and they have invited all council members, if you have not attended, to attend. September 29th, I attended the grand opening of Trojan Storage. September 30th, I attended and provided a certificate on behalf of the City of Camarillo to the Banana Festival out in Port Hueneme. September 30th, I attended the Camarillo Reads event with author Naomi Hirahara. She wrote a mystery novel about the internment camps, Japanese internment camps. So it was really a wonderful event. October 2nd, I attended the Freedom Dog Park grand opening with PVR PD, and it was really such a cute event with all the doggies. I had a great time. October 3rd, I attended the tour of Gold Coast Recycling and Transfer Station with E.J. Harrison. It was also my first time there, and it was just so informative. And I think, after attending these tours, it's one thing to see things in a contract and on paper, but once you're there, you really do appreciate so much more of what people have to go through for our simple task of just throwing something in the trash. So with that, please recycle and compost. October 4th, I attended Coffee with a Cop. And October 4th, I also attended a tour and a staff meet and greet at the Camarillo Library. October 4th, I attended the groundbreaking ceremony of the Dolores Huerta Gardens with Mayor Santangelo. It was a project with Camarillo Economic Development where they are building 58 housing units for farm workers and U.S. veterans out in Oxnard. So it was wonderful to be there. Dolores Huerta is one of my heroes or sheroes. My father was a farm worker, so I really appreciate the work that she has done and that she did with Cesar Chavez throughout. October 4th, I also attended the Dignity Health Invitation, Be a Robotic Surgeon for a Day. I attended that with Mayor Santangelo as well. October 9th, I attended Backpack Medicine right along with Deputy Jason Havelka and with Lizette and the team of behavioral health from the county. It was really such an inspiring and rewarding experience to get to meet people who are experiencing difficulties in our community, who are experiencing homelessness. And it really, gives you this different perspective also to be able to provide these services and be out there. Deputy Jason Havelka is just so wonderful. His empathy is really transparent and inspiring. And the city of Camarillo should really be proud, not only of the program that we have through Project Hope, but also because of who runs it. So I cannot say enough good things about him and his team. October 9th, we also celebrated Indigenous Peoples Day. And so I do want to recognize the contributions, culture, traditions, and the history of Indigenous people. I acknowledge that the land which we gather today to hold our council meeting and the city of Camarillo is the occupied territory of the Chumash people. I honor the ancestral stewards of this land and all Indigenous people whom we meet and interact with today. Thank you.
Mr. Kildee?
So meetings attended, I didn't have any meetings since our last council meeting. However, Saturday, the 7th, I did present an Eagle Scout at United Methodist, and yesterday I took a tour of CSUCI's campus. They've got some really exciting things going on out there, and look forward to working with them as close as we have in the past and in the future here. They've got some good things going on, so that's all I have.
Mr. Tremblay?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. No meetings to report. Just one item. I'm understanding anecdotally from some folks, and also, I guess, from social media, that we've had some difficulties at the post office with regard of loss of mail, and with individuals apparently going onto the property and removing pallets of mail. And I don't know whether or not those reports are true or not, but without asking for any action of council, what I'm hoping that staff could do is to direct a letter to the local postmaster and ask if there are such issues that are existing at the post office, and if there are, what can the post office do to assure our residents that their mail is safe? I know there are a lot of residents who don't put, when they're using mail now, they don't put their mail or their envelopes in the blue boxes that are distributed throughout the community. They go directly to the post office. So in any event, well, I'm hoping that we can make an inquiry of the Postal Service, and just ascertain whether or not the reports are true. And again, I don't know if they are or they aren't. But if they are, I'd like to know what assurances they can provide for our residents. And that's it.
Okay, for meetings attended, I'll go in order. On October 2nd, I met with Matt Jacobs of Kaiser. He provided me an update with what Kaiser is doing in our community and in the Ventura County area. On October 4th, I also attended the Dolores Huerta Gardens groundbreaking. And then later that day, I attended the Dignity Health robotics demonstration. It was at St. John's Camarillo Hospital. And October 5th, I attended the CPA Board of Directors meeting. And then early this morning, not early this morning, 10 a.m. is not early. It was, bear with me, I'm on a different time zone as well. I attended the Santa Barbara Airbus groundbreaking for the new Camarillo pickup station. So we now have a bus that takes us to LAX. It's a Santa Barbara Airbus, and I think they have 8 round trips a day. So that's really a great service for Camarillo. So we're excited about that. And that's all I have. All right, that'll bring us down to the consent calendar. I have a motion and a second. Please vote. And that passes 4-0 with 1 absent. All right, and that brings us now down to our discussion item, item K, which is the draft sustainability master plan for municipal operations. Michelle?
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Santangelo and council members. It is my pleasure to be here this evening to present you with the city's draft sustainability master plan for municipal operations in alignment with the city council goal of environment resource management to provide cost-effective, efficient services to the public while minimizing impacts on the environment. As Camarillo makes the vital transition toward a more resilient future, we are seeking to transform how we grow and manage change. With the City Council's authorization, staff has spent the last year working together as an internal stakeholder team with a consultant and guidance from the Policy Committee to prepare the document that is before you this evening. The Sustainability Master Plan is intended to be a living policy document that is regularly reviewed and updated. It will lay the groundwork for municipal initiatives, as directed by the City Council, that the city can use to achieve the sustainable vision and goals established for Camarillo's municipal operations in a fiscally responsible, technologically feasible, and efficient manner. Tonight, we are presenting the draft plan to you for discussion. We will bring back the final plan for adoption at a future City Council meeting. And at this time, it is my pleasure to introduce our consultant, Hannah Mize from Rincon Consultants. Hannah's going to walk us through the framework of the plan and provide context to the goals, measures, and actions that make up this document. And at the conclusion of Hannah's presentation, we're both available to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you for your time this evening.
All right, thank you so much again for the time. I'm Hannah Mize, as mentioned, from Rincon Consultants. We're located right in Ventura, down the 101. I grew up in Moore Park and went to CSUCI, so I appreciate the tour and the things they're doing there. So today, we're just going to run through the Sustainable Master Plan, kind of talk about the system, how we developed it, the phase where we're at, and the overall kind of process of the plan itself. So we'll jump right in. Really, for Camarillo, sustainability is defined as a system-based approach. So when we're looking at it, we really recognize that sustainability is achieved when economic development is conducted in a manner that protects the environment and also supports the community. It really is this triple bottom line theory where we all win. It's reflected here, and we also have this kind of overlap of livability, viability, and equitability, understanding that all of these pieces come into play to result in sustainability. Before we jump too far into the actual ideas and strategies that we talked about in the framework of the plan, we wanted to kind of set the stage. And so we started this process by doing an emissions inventory, which is reflected here. We also did an audit of both the energy and the water at all city-owned and operated buildings to really understand what areas we could improve on and where there were opportunities for change or things that have been really successful that we could either build on or continue with. So taking a look at these emissions, we're going to have two graphs. This first one shows the city emissions, really just that the municipality has control over, recognizing that there's also a community, a broader community inventory that, you know, everybody, residents, commercial entities have a broader role in, but this is pulled out separately. It's not an additive source. That part's in the climate action plan, and this really just shows what the city has control over and allows us to identify areas where we can lead by example. So you'll see on this graph, we have a wastewater treatment plant, which generates about half of the city's emissions. We have another graph on the next page, really understanding that a lot of those emissions, although the city has operational control over it, are generated proportionally with the population of the city. So that we want to have an idea of, okay, understanding that, there's a lot of wastewater treatment plant initiatives. There's a plan to start to really make that more sustainable. So if we remove that from the puzzle, oh, there we go. We are looking at a little bit more of a calibrated data set. So here we can kind of identify areas where the city at the municipal level has real operational control. So right across the board, you'll see areas where we're looking at vehicles and transit, business travel. Really, this is kind of a standard, I would say, spread across for general, municipalities. There's a lot of traveling happening, and there's energy use. So those are the areas where we can really start to make change and refine initiatives, and it's just a way to kind of see it in a different sense, removing that community space. And I'm sorry, I keep pushing this at the wrong direction. I'm pushing it at the screen, and that's not getting me what I want. So the plan here is set up really as an umbrella. It's an overarching plan for the city. It's really going to be a driving initiative that, as Michelle mentioned, is a living document that will be, evolving as things change. We understand that there's new technologies that maybe we aren't aware of yet, or there's, initiatives and grant funding opportunities that are coming out, and we really want to be able to prioritize those things as they come up. So this is something that has a lot of really, I would say, ambitious initiatives, but they are done in a way that's cost efficient, and it's feasible, with also has some room for understanding the changing landscape and the political space that we're in. So really taking one step back, this plan builds on all of the successes that have been achieved so far. I know that there's been a ton of work, and this is a really cool, this sustainability master plan is a cool opportunity to really combine all of those pieces. Everybody has these initiatives and projects, and sometimes they aren't, categorized under sustainability, even though they broadly are. So it allows us to really show the progress made and then build on that success. Or if something wasn't so successful, we can start to navigate and move forward in a different direction. All right, so as Michelle mentioned, this has been about a year process. We've been working together really closely with city staff. It's an iterative process, this measure development space specifically. The first part of the process, we set the stage, we do that background analysis, the energy audits, the water audits, the inventories. We also did a climate vulnerability assessment to understand the vulnerability in the city, and kind of combined all of that, and then started to draft really high-level initiatives, met with city staff from all departments, city manager, administrative services, community development, finance, public works, and shared out our ideas really at a preliminary level and said, what are you interested in? What are you working on? What are the initiatives that you've heard from the community that we can integrate into this? And so it's really this holistic plan. So we met with the team, took all that feedback back, went over the holidays of last year, pulled out another meeting in March of 2023, where we started to review these revised measures and actions. And so provided an opportunity for all city staff to have input. And we also, in addition to this revision session, we also provided another full copy of the document for additional review and feedback. From there, once they were refined and really vetted by city staff, understanding that it takes a team and that there will be a lot of actions that require support, we wanted to bring this to the policy committee, so we met a couple of different times. On our next slide, you'll see kind of a schedule of how that worked out, and we continue to refine, revise, and discuss the provisional SMP. In a really visual way, we started, again, like I mentioned, 2022. We had that baseline water energy audit, the inventory. We met with staff twice, had a really iterative process. The policy committee had a really good set of feedback that we wanted to incorporate and make sure it was really reflected throughout the document. So we had a couple of meetings there, and today we were at the first of 2 city council meetings. So all of that as reflected on the screen here. There's also a timeline in our in the SMP itself kind of showing the phasing of the plan. So the actual structure of this, this, again, going back to what we said at the beginning, this is based on a systems-based approach and understanding that sustainability is defined by the United Nations as meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. Essentially, quote unquote, doing the right thing, making sure there's enough space and resources for people. And that's something that I think fundamentally has been built into the city, and this is just an opportunity to really streamline that. So we provided it in kind of a 4-chapter document with an appendix that talks about implementation and monitoring. So the introduction, again, that really sets the stage, that provides background on the inventory, the vulnerability assessment, just kind of the groundwork for all of the plan. Then we have a summary of the emissions inventory, really laying out in a clear way where the emissions were generated, how they were calculated and quantified. I know some people really like to dive in deep into data, so we have a summary there. Then we have the adaptation and resilience piece where we talk about climate vulnerabilities and opportunities for increasing adaptive capacity. And then finally, the sustainability strategies, which are, again, really this living document that it's intended to be evolve as new ideas come around. Finally, we have the implementation monitoring section. That's actually an appendix, and that's a really kind of a clear mechanism for the city to use to track and implement the actions that are being laid out in this plan. So it's really clear. The actual initiatives were developed kind of in the stepwise process. So we have goals, which are these aspirational statements, and then we have measures, which are more along the lines of do X by Y date. So electrify, X amount of buildings by 2045 or 2030, and having a real opportunity to have a metric that we can track. The actions are under each of those measures, and they kind of tell the story of how to get there. So there's options for, there's actions for feasibility, for funding, to really kind of get ahead of the things that prevent implementation, things that, we want to make sure that there's feasibility around something instead of just doing something that maybe doesn't make sense in the city, even though it was done other places. Let's make sure it's feasible here, it's realistic, and then start to implement. There's also options for educating the community and the city staff, just so everybody's aware of what and why we're doing things. So that's really kind of the pieces of how this puzzle comes into play, and then it's all bracketed under these broader goals of leadership. Again, really just leading by example and having an opportunity to really provide the context for the city to be excited about and see that this is being done across the board. We have infrastructure, which includes, buildings and systems. Then we have operations, which includes a variety of different components, again, mostly things like electrification and using active transportation and stuff like that. And then the natural environment, which is clean air, clean water, and just the world in which we live. So all of our actions are kind of bracketed under these various goals, so it's really clear and also can kind of provide a path forward. So going forward, what does this look like? Again, we mentioned this implementation plan. I know it's a little bit small on the screen there, but it is very detailed. It's about a sheet long and a couple of pages long, and it really provides context on which city department is implementing each initiative, who the partners are at the city to really recognize that this does take a team, and then the time frame, so we can understand the initiatives that are being implemented most quickly, and then, over the next couple of years as well. Final piece here is that this will include a report out to council and publish on the city website, just to provide transparency and, identify opportunities for either improvement or, updates as we go forward. So really going to be a transparent process, and that is all we have on the presentation, but happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Hannah. Do we have questions? Mr. Kildee?
Not a question, that was a lot. You're going to be busy, but yeah, I think there's some really good things happening, and I look forward to this. Like we always have, we've done some great things, and we've got a bright future for what potentially we can do as well. So, it's a very good report. Thank you.
Questions? No questions. No questions. Questions? Go ahead.
Oh, there we go. I thank you very much for this presentation and for this report. It was very detailed, and I really appreciate the work that you did as a consultant, and also Michelle, I know you put a lot of work into leading this as well, and I think it was very well written. I'm very proud of the city of Camarillo for taking this step moving forward to invest in not only the community that we have now, but future generations as well. And I'm very proud that we are taking a science-based approach to do this and to do what is right, to care for the health of all community members. With that said, it's more of a question and a concern combined in terms of how to be effective and efficient when we have the set of actions that we want to, get to. Is there a vision for a future staff member to actually help lead that? And my concern is, if we have all of these wonderful actions, but we don't have enough staff to actually help implement them, I want this to be successful. And so I just wanted to have that conversation, that question not only to you, but also to my council members as well.
Thank you for the question, Councilmember Martinez-Bravo. I think it really depends on how aggressively the City Council wants to pursue the items that are laid out in the plan. As you'll see, some of the projects and programs that are included in the SMP are already underway. So they're already built into the work plans of departments and divisions. But there are additional items in there that are not. So those would be in addition to what are currently built into the department work plans. So we envision this as a plan that the council will lean on during your annual goals and objectives setting session to help set the priorities for city staff moving forward under your direction. So it's expected at that time, depending on the amount of items and the priority level, that would be the time for discussion on whether that can be handled under current department work plans or if additional staff or consultant services are needed.
Okay, thank you.
Comments? If there's no more questions or comments?
I'll move to receive and file.
Oh, I think Mr. Tremblay has some comments. Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry. Is that okay? Fine, absolutely. Sorry I missed you.
No, I had just some comments, and I first of all, I think this sustainability master plan does in fact provide the roadmap and a framework for all of the individual sustainability initiatives that are being pursued by the city. I think it's an important statement of this city about what the city's sustainability goals and actions to be undertaken are. So I think it's important that the city do this. I want to just read 2 sentences from the Sustainability Master Plan, which is on page 3, and it's section 1.2, and it lays out what the vision and goals of the plan are. And I'll just read this, quote, Camarillo is committed to providing cost-effective, fiscally responsible, technologically feasible, efficient municipal services to the public while minimizing impacts on the environment. All goals, measures, and actions undertaken by the city in implementing this SMP, whether current or prospective, shall be evaluated using these key criteria. In working towards this goal, the city envisions a sustainable organization that leads by example. And I realize now that that was 3 sentences, not 2. But I think that's a very important component of this Sustainability Master Plan. I'm really proud of the city's efforts on this. I especially want to thank Michelle and all the staff who have worked on this. I want to thank you, Ms. Mize, for all of your work on it. I want to thank the mayor. We had 4 meetings in the policy committee on this document, and it underwent quite a bit of change and transformation. And I think the work, both by you, Michelle, and by Ms. Mize, you're extremely professional and very good to work with. And so I really appreciate all of your efforts. So when Mr. Kildee hopefully remakes his motion, I'd be happy to second it. Thank you again for your efforts.
I just want to make a comment. I'm obviously on the policy committee, and so I want to thank you both and thank all the city staff, because this was a lot of work. And I also want to thank the vice mayor, because as he does so well, he got into the weeds with this. He really did. And a lot of the transformation of the document is because of you, and really good work. So I appreciated working with you on this. And that's all my comments. So now I think it's time for a motion.
I'll move to receive and file.
In a second.
Yes. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. And that passes 4-0 with 1 absent. Okay. So this will bring us down, we need to reconvene CSD.
Yes, I'd like to reconvene the Camarillo Sanitary District back to order, please.
Okay. And that will bring us to, hang on, I've got the wrong paper in front of me. Item L, which is our water service rates, and we'll be having a dual presentation on this for water service rates and sewer service rates.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the Council and Sanitary Board. We're going to present a joint report for the City Council and the Sanitary District regarding the proposed water and sewer rates. And following the presentation, there will be time for questions and discussion by members of the City Council and the Sanitary Board. And the Mayor and Sanitary District Chair will then open the public hearings for both the City Council and the CSD to receive any public testimony and last call for protests to be submitted. The protest results will be announced by staff and read into the record prior to any action taken by either City Council or the Sanitary District. This rate study process began a year ago and is a coordinated effort between the Finance and Public Works Departments working with the city's rate consultants. On August 25th, the 45-day Proposition 218 process began by notifying all affected ratepayers of tonight's public hearing. A public forum was held on September 18th at the library. And other public messaging has included city scene newsletter articles, social media messages, and information posted on the city's website. So if the recommended actions are taken tonight, then on the next meeting, October 25th, the CSD board will have a second reading of the CSD rates, and then the rates increases would be effective January 1st, 2024, and then July 1st, 2024. We wanted to begin with a brief introduction of the city's water and sewer systems and share why rate changes are needed to support safe and reliable services. When we turn on the faucet or flush a toilet, we rarely think of the complex processes and infrastructure that keeps these critical services running. Water is sent to homes and businesses through a series of underground pipelines. When the water reaches our homes, it's used for cooking and cleaning and then sent down the drain to the city's sewer collection system. From here, the wastewater travels to the water reclamation facility. The facility then treats several million gallons of wastewater a day. And finally, the treated water is reused for irrigation or released into the Conejo Creek. It takes a complex network of infrastructure and a large team of dedicated professionals to keep our water and sewer systems running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Funds generated by utility rates provide high-quality drinking water and necessary sanitary services for Camarillo's 45,000 customers. Our water and sewer bills support critical infrastructure, including the city's 194 miles of water pipelines, 144 miles of sewer mains, 4 pump stations, 4 groundwater wells, 6 reservoirs, and over 2,500 manholes. Utility rates pay for ongoing operations, maintenance, repairs, debt payments, emergency reserves, and forward-looking capital improvements. The city must continually invest in our water and sewer systems to maintain safe and reliable services. Public Works has identified 33 critical water and sewer projects for 2023 through 2028. And these include improvements to the city's sewer lines, pump stations, groundwater wells, water reclamation plant, and more. Among these projects are significant upgrades to the city's water reclamation plant. The water reclamation plant treats and disinfects approximately 3.5 million gallons of wastewater every day, producing high-quality reclaimed water that is distributed for agriculture and landscaping irrigation. Over the last 60 years, the water reclamation plant has undergone several updates and expansions to support a growing community and meet evolving regulations. Many components of the treatment process are nearing the end of their useful life and will require replacement over the next 10 years. Adjustments are needed to replace and repair aging infrastructure, to pump and purchase scarce water sources, maintain critical treatment facilities, and account for rising costs of materials, including chemicals and energy. And now to talk about the rate study process, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin Kostwick from Raftellus Financial Consultants.
Thank you, Mark. Good evening, Mayor Santangelo, council, staff, and members of the public. I'm Kevin Kostick from Raftellus. We're going to first talk about process, how are rates determined. It generally follows this progression. So first, we look to our water and wastewater utility system master plans to evaluate where our infrastructure needs are over the long term, where we have risk, where we prioritize capital reinvestment. This is a big component to CSD's financial plan over the next several years, actually over the next decade or so. Then we weave in the capital improvement plan, so an adopted 5-year plan, but also looking out through years 6 and 10 of a 10-year horizon, ensure we don't miss something that might be in that 6 to 10-year time frame. So the capital improvement program, the operating costs of each utility, and then as Mark mentioned, any debt service, that past borrowings or reserve, cash reserves for mitigating risk and ensuring cash flow, is all built into a financial plan that looks out over a course of 10 years to determine if our current rates are sufficient for our costs, both current and projected, or if rate increases are required. The next is a cost of service analysis, which there were no cost of service analyses for water or CSD this time around. So what that financial plan translates into are the proposed rates you're going to see in these coming slides. First, the rate schedule, or the rate study schedule, I should say. We started this with the Utilities Committee back last October of 2022, so a year ago now. Started talking about the financial plan updates. We talked about the idea of drought surcharges that you'll see here as well, revisiting the capital plan in light of updates to the 5-year schedule and the CSD master plan. We worked through that with the committee all the way through June. In July, we came to the council with some financial options, as you recall, for both the city water service and CSD. We were back in August for a firm proposal that then noticed our customers through August and September. In September, we held a community forum that was relatively well attended by members of the public and ratepayers. We're here today for the public hearing, and should the proposal be adopted, the first-year increases would go into effect on January 1st, and the second increase on July 1st of 2024. So looking at two quote, years' worth of adoption. Throughout that process, again, performed community outreach, as you'll see at the end of this presentation, including utility bill inserts, newsletters, social media posts, dedicated website pages, et cetera. If we turn to the proposed water rates, again, this is a reflection of the updated financial plan, so what are our revenue needs going forward for the water utility? Current rate, or current bill, I should say, for a typical single-family user in Camarillo with a 3/4 inch meter uses 12 units of water per month. That stands at $52.03. With these 2 years' worth, or 2 increases, 2 cycles, that bill would increase roughly $10 per month, 32 cents a day to $61.82. So when we compare that to our neighboring agencies throughout the rest of Ventura County, what we see is you have the most affordable water service today. Even after 2 increases, we would still have the second most affordable in the area. Also mindful that all these other systems, all these other communities are going through their own rate study processes. There are different points in that rate study cycle or timeline with systems that have different types of water resources, different ages of systems, different reinvestment needs on the capital front. The new proposal this year are these drought rates or drought surcharges. The key here is that drought rates are both temporary and discretionary and only would be in effect in times of declared shortage. So what we've calculated here, we're showing our proposed base rates. So we think of our normal condition rates, and we're showing the 3-tiered rates for single-family users, which are the bulk of our customer base. Tier 1 being $2.23, Tier 2, $3.31, Tier 3, $4.48. And then you see the volumetric surcharge that would apply, again, only in times of declared shortage. This example is showing a level 1 shortage, the kind of least intense conservation efforts. A surcharge on the order of 18 cents per unit of water in Tier 1 and then up to 36 cents in Tier 3. So we show that full schedule between our 3 tiers for single family at the 4 levels of shortage that we've determined with staff, and you see the volumetric surcharges there on the order of 18 cents in Tier 1 at level 1, ranging all the way up to $1.48 per billing unit of water at the most intense shortage level and the highest level of use. So all things considered, fairly modest surcharges. When we turn to CSD and sewer rates, this proposal would see a bill increase for a single-family user of $15.07. That's at the second increase in July 1 of 2024. That amounts to 50 cents per day for that user. So a current bill of $59.23 would translate into a bill of $74.30. So we would leapfrog a couple service providers in the area, still kind of in the middle of the pack, and again, mindful that all these other agencies are either at some point in their rate cycle, are currently in a rate study, or will have one upcoming. And again, showing the second year, or the second increase rather, July 1 of 2024. So we want to show combined impacts because that is the majority of the customers that have city water service and CSD. So we want to think of the combined bill. Average household, again, that single family user with 12 units per month would see an increase of roughly $25 per month. That's 82 cents per day. That still leaves us with some of the most affordable water and sewer service in Ventura County, moving one position up this from the city of Thousand Oaks, who will be holding their own public hearing on November 7th and has some fairly significant increases programmed on their sewer utility for the next decade. We have a bill calculator on the city's website. So we showed you examples for kind of the typical user, that single family user and average use. But a ratepayer can go in with their account information, or as long as they know their meter size, their customer class, the number of units of water that they use, they can go in and calculate their current and proposed bill and see their exact impact. And then I already mentioned most of these outreach efforts. I think earlier in the day, we counted no less than 14 different outreach efforts between the study documents themselves, the 218 notice, public meetings with the city council, the community forum, these social media posts, utility bill inserts, et cetera, et cetera. With that, we would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for the report. Do we have questions?
I do. Thank you very much for your report. Would you be able to take us back to the slide that has a comparison to the other cities? So my understanding is that some of these cities have not yet gone through the studies. So is it fair to say that they will probably have to increase their rates? And so we will look even like, correct?
That's correct. So we do our best to look out to, because we're looking out to July of next year, and so we're doing our best to say where will other agencies' rates be in July. But that said, we know that some are currently adopting, like I mentioned, the city of Thousand Oaks will have their public hearing next month. The city of Ventura is in year 3 of a 5-year study, so they've got about 2 more years before they look at their rates again for a 5-year term. The city of Oxnard similarly just finished their water rates. They're currently in a study for their wastewater rates. So yes, everyone's at kind of a different point in time, and we're doing our best to say, where are these other agencies July of next year, mindful that they may be more than what we see here.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions? Okay. At this time, the City Council will open the public hearing for the proposed water rates. The hearing is now open.
I would like to open, this is an advertised public hearing for the Camarillo Sanitary District for the advertised public hearing on that.
We will receive comments, questions, and any oral protests from any interested persons. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on the matter? Okay, the water rates public hearing is now closed.
And I will close the public hearing for the Camarillo Sanitary District as well, and no further protests will be accepted at this time.
Any questions or deliberation from the council? Okay. Staff, please announce the results of the protests received.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, and members of the board. I can confirm that all protests, both written and oral, have been recorded regarding the proposed water and sewer rates, and there is no majority protest for water or sewer rates, and both increased assessments pass. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a motion and a second for, 1, to authorize the reading of the title of the ordinance, and to authorize waiving further reading and introduce the ordinance?
So moved.
I'll second.
And hearing no further discussion, please vote. And that passes 4-0.
And if
with-
could I read the
Oh,
title as well?
yes.
Thank you. Yes, so this was an ordinance of the Board of Directors of Camarillo Sanitary District, amending Chapter 7, Section 7001 of the district's operations code relating to sewer service rates. Thank you.
And that passes 4-0 with 1 absent.
All right, I will need a motion and a second to authorize the reading of the title of the ordinance for the Sanitary District, and also to authorize the waive of further reading and introduce the ordinance.
So I think we actually covered that. Did the mayor? Yeah.
For the
So-
for the SAN as well?
Well, I think technically it would have been, we could have had you read that, but the mayor did, so we'll just have the record reflect that that applied to the CSD, and that'll be for the
That's fine.
I just
record.
realized I read the wrong portion.
That's okay.
That's okay. We
We'll be
got it?
good.
We're good.
Do we need to vote on this, or is it separately or not?
Well, we did vote on it, so I think have the, again, the record reflect that the votes were not the council, but they were the CSD.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, I'll adjourn the Camarillo Sanitary District meeting.
And now I will ask for a motion and a second to adopt a resolution setting the amount of water rates and charges for January 1st, and July 1st of 2024.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting,
Wait, what
there we
happened?
go. That's better, isn't it?
Got to reset. Okay. There we go. Vote.
Did I vote? There we go.
Okay, and that passes as well, 4-0 with one absence.
Could I-
Okay.
Could I make a comment before we move on from this
Yes,
item?
please. Yeah.
We take it very seriously, and nobody likes to raise rates here. However, we do have an obligation to our ratepayers to have the best system that we can afford to have, the safest system, and to provide as high a quality service, in this particular instance, water and sewer rates, to our customers. I'm very much cognizant of the $25 extra if you combine the two rates. That's a lot of money. I understand that. I pay those rates as well. But I do think that it's important to remember, too, that we've always tried to have our combined rates somewhere right in the middle of our sisters and brothers next door and in the region here. And that's what we've tried to do here. And we're pretty darn close to being right in the middle of these rates. And as far as the new drought rates, we live in a different world now, that we have to acknowledge that there is a potential that we could get into a drought situation again. So this will help us be able to counteract that. People have asked me on several occasions, well, we've got the desalter. You know, we built this desalter. What's going on with that? Well, I can say that without the desalter, that these rates would have a strong probability, at least the water rates, to be even higher. That what it allows us to do is to buy more water at a less price than if we had to buy it from one of our water purveyors as well. So again, nobody likes to raise rates. We worked as hard as we can to make these rates as low as possible. And this will put us in a really good situation for the future here, and that's why I supported it. So I think it was important to have a comment on that.
I'll echo those comments. First of all, I just want to say thank you to the Finance and Public Works staff. We looked at this exhaustively and spent several hours on this, and they spent even more hours on this. Staff and our consultant, Raftelis, Kevin, thank you very much. Councilmember Martinez Bravo and I also spent several hours on this, so I want to thank her for her efforts. Like Councilmember Kildee said, no one likes to raise rates. I don't like to raise rates, and I acknowledge that these rate increases are significant. But that said, it's the fiscally responsible thing to do to make sure that the city can continue to deliver the critical services that our residents expect and need. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I agree with my fellow council members, and I do believe it is important to continue to invest in our city of Camarillo. We have a very well-run city, and there are many operations and maintenance and capital improvement projects that the city needs in order for it to continue to thrive. And every step of the way, from the time that I got on council and prior to that, I know there has been a great deal of time and investment put into looking at the different options and those options that would be in the best interest of the community that we serve. And I too am very thankful to staff and also to Councilmember Tremblay for the numerous weeks and hours that we took into looking at the different options that were presented to us, the different questions that we had. There's a lot more that I learned about utilities than I thought that I would learn coming on council. But having said that, I am very appreciative of the learning process and know that what we decided on, it was an effort to be fair, an effort to be fiscally responsible, and in an effort to provide these necessary services to the city of Camarillo, to the people of Camarillo. And at the end of the day, I definitely want to be able to flush my toilet, as I'm sure everyone here does. Thank you.
Thank you. When I was first elected, somebody came up to me and said, sewer and water, sewer and water. That's what you need to focus on. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that we do as council members, but when it comes down to sewer and water, you want to be able to turn on your water and have water come out, and you want to be able to flush your toilet. This is an investment into our future, and I'm not going to restate all the comments that my fellow council members made, but I agree with them, and so that's why I've supported this as well. Okay. It's 6:11, it means we're 11 minutes late for our public comment period, but this is public comment period for items not on the agenda. Looks like so far I have one comment card. Brian Morris. Brian, you've spoken here before. You know you have 3 minutes. You know how it works.
Well, good evening, Honorable Mayor Santangelo and the Honorable Camarillo City Council. My name is Brian Morris, and nearly 7 years ago, I founded the opposed Camarillo Springs building team. One issue that is commonly tabled by our membership is a lack of evacuation structure and policy for our over 2,000 Camarillo Springs members. We've spoken about this before. We brought this up in previous city council meetings and in previous draft EIRs. Our members have sent to you scores of emails and letters. We have spoken with the fire marshal and the fire chief. They have no comment nor interest, and neither do the police. One of our members joined CERT, hoping to be of assistance, and CERT denied the invitation to attend our meetings, as they felt they might be taking sides in a dispute. The best solution was to leave the neighborhood ignorant, apparently. The EIRs have been written to keep the city and our neighborhood ignorant as well. Apparently, the only solution is mitigation. There is only one road out of Camarillo Springs. As witnessed in 2018, it can take 2.5 hours to escape the burning homes and the fire fuel in Camarillo Springs. How many people will we mitigate to their deaths? We assume you are aware of Lahaina's fire disaster last month, even though all current information has been wiped off the media. The official death toll last reported was 108, but we all know the final number will rise to 1,000 plus in time. Let's stick with 108 souls. Not all, but many cooked in their cars or drowned off the beach as they couldn't evacuate. This reminds us of the city of Paradise and the Camp Creek fire. 86 souls died and many burned to death in their cars as well. They couldn't evacuate. The New Urban West Golf Course project adds 248 homes and 500 cars to the Camarillo Springs evacuation. According to our authorities, Ridgeway Road must be kept clear for emergency vehicles, so Camarillo Springs Road remains the only way out. 500 cars from New Urban West New the Greens must evacuate along with the current 2,000 cars, and they all pinch together at one intersection. All of them. We would like some light to be cast on this issue. It's been pushed aside way too long. It's going to stop raining, and the fires will be back. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mark Malloy.
Good evening, Mayor Santangelo and the council. I'm here tonight to talk about, the subject that I've been talking to you about for a really long time. And I know next meeting is going to be a big zoo with a lot of conversation about a lot of details. But I wanted to make sure that you're aware of something that's really important in the relationship between the district and you guys and things that we're responsible for together. And that is the amount of public recreation space that we have. Your general plan calls for 2.5 acres of neighborhood parks and 2.5 acres of community parks for each 1,000 people. That's what should be required. And the process, as you know, the developer either gives us money to build parks or gives us land and money to build a park or builds the park. But right now, the district has 256 acres for roughly 70,000 people, which means we should have 350 acres. So we're 94 acres short as of right now. The Camino Reeves project, which has just started, and the reason I know it's just started is we just got a developer fee check of $1.7 million. But that's going to have about 1,000 residents, should have about 5 acres of parkland. It came with no parkland. Cost of the 5 acres of parkland is $6 to $8 million, which obviously 1.7 isn't going to begin to start. So that's 1,000 more people with no additional park space and puts our shortfall at 99 acres. We also have the Stock Lumber Project, which has started. You've all seen it at long last. It's going to have 250 to 300 new residents, which would work out to 1.25 acres. We got a 1.25 acres of land in that area would probably be $1.5 million to $2 million. We got $323,000 of developer fees. So that puts the shortfall at 100 acres, which means we should have 39% more parkland. And there's nothing that I know in process other than the Rancho project, which is going to have parkland. There's nothing that I'm aware of that is going to come with parkland. And obviously, the New Urban West project subtracts a 128-acre golf course from the parkland of this community if it's built. That would be a disaster. That's a lot of space that would never come back once that project starts. So when you think about this next week, I want you to think about something very fundamental, which is our responsibility as the people that run this community, is to make sure there's enough recreation space to keep this a nice place to live for a very long time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Mike Mishler.
As I'm coming up there, I had some handouts. Did you get them? And there's some there for staff, too. Okay, hi, Mike Mishler again, back for part 2 for my 3-minute talks. This time I have a little handout, 9 pages there. The first several pages cover basically what I talked about at the last city council meeting for 3 minutes. There's some additional stuff there you can go through. This is your homework assignment for the next meeting. You can read through that. I just want to spend a couple seconds on page 3 where I have a picture of some rock. That's the Hill Canyon Road that goes up from Santa Rosa Road to the Thousand Oaks sewage treatment plant. This is, in the picture, you can see some volcanic bedrock. This is the same volcanic bedrock that's located in the project site that they're planning to dig out and use in their landfill. And you can see the drill holes up there where they drill the hole and put dynamite down there and blast that thing out. So that rock was blasted and not usable in a landfill. Yet, in this report, and the technical, in this, you can read through here, and I quote the technical report, the geotechnical report that was done. They even stated that the volcanic rock is rock and fractured. It's not usable for a landfill. Yet, in the environmental impact report, in the original one and the revised one, they all include this volcanic bedrock as usable sedimentary rock. It's equivalent in their report. That's what they counted as. They had no geologists go out there and do any type of an evaluation of it. So that's something you can look at. on page 4, real quick, I wanted to talk about another issue that was avoided, and that was where the main lake is going to go. It's going to have a lake bottom of 100 feet. The groundwater table in the environmental impact report says 107 feet is the groundwater table. So that's 7 feet they're going to go down below where the water table is. They're going to have to dewater that to actually do anything. So again, that was not even talked about, what the temporary effects are from dewatering. The next point on page 5, I've taken 2 images from the California Department of Water Resources here, and they talk about what dams are regulated by the state, okay? And if you look down at the bottom of page 5, from the lowest point of the downstream toe of the dam to the maximum storage elevation is the height of the dam. And if you go, and based on my opinion, when you go out and look at all the plans and stuff, the height of this dam they're building out there, this building pad they call it, but it's actually a dam, it's going to be 12 feet high and hold over 150 acre feet of water, which means that it meets it's going to be meeting California standards, not our standards. So that's not even mentioned anywhere in the stuff. And you can read through the stuff, and I'll go over it in more detail, follow up next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. And Cheryl Harwood.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, council and planning commission, and everybody that helps. First of all, I want to commend you on how good you did on keeping Camarillo in the black rather than the red. And so if you think we need utility hikes, so be it. I was not planning to talk tonight, but I have to tell you this. I think I need to encourage and invite that you're part of our club. And the club is people that are impacted if New Urban West builds those houses. One of the things is, if it fails, it not only impacts District 3, our council member, Councilwoman Bravo's district, it impacts District 1 and District 2, because Camarillo Heights and Mission Heights are on the Callegas Creek, and when the Ventura County watershed rerouted the tributary of Conejo Creek to be widened at Callegas, they did so that it would flow into Camarillo Springs Golf Course, because Camarillo Springs Golf Course is a natural drain to the aquifers underneath. So it was intentionally done to help take the impact of flooding from down Callegas River. It's a creek, but it's a big one. It's 30 miles long, if you look it up. And the first ones that it passes is going to be Tennyson's district and then Mayor Santangelo's district. So if you clog it, welcome to the club. Now you know what our nightmare is. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Would anybody else like to address the council tonight? Okay. If it's all right with everybody, I've neglected to mention something during my comments. The Camarillo Police Department is putting on their trunk or treat, which is Thursday, October 26th. The community is invited to join in this free family-oriented event in the parking lot of the Camarillo Police Station, 3701 Las Posas Road. Again, this is Thursday, October 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. And there's a flyer. Oh, good. All right, that brings us to the end of our meeting, unless there's anything else. Oh, report out from City Attorney.
Thank you. On the 2 items that we conducted this evening, there was no reportable action taken. Thank you.
Thank you, and with that, we are adjourned.